Check. Okay. Just a minute, everyone. Just gotta get everything set up. All right, just let the community peeps know. Yep. I just gotta let the Discord people know. Should just take a quick moment here. All right. Hey, everyone. Welcome again to another live stream here. We are about a little over 20 minutes from the start of the show. Apologies again for being a little late, but it's not too bad, I don't think. Should open up the stream manager. Yep. Where is the chat? Okay, there it is. So yeah, I mean, I alluded last week to the possibility of this week being a bit interesting. It kind of is, I guess, depending on your point of view, where it's like we are getting a big target out, kind of. We are getting a different face up on the block, actually two different faces. So I guess from that perspective, it's not going to be as straightforward of a boot here, where it's not just going to be as simple as Keanu going out because he won the veto. You also have Kelly, who could go home, but is currently the second safest person on the block here. But obviously, on the other hand, like, I do think there is also some reason to be concerned here in terms of where the season could be going here. As I do feel like this is a move that really just allows the likes of Zach and Vince to take control of the game. Now, there is still the possibility that they don't take control. I mean, we have seen them before not being the most active players in the world. I mean, Vince and Zach, they literally backed out of a move just last week that would have been beneficial for the game. And I was all over their case about it on this live stream. So who knows if they really take the reins here, but I'm inclined to think that they are, because it does seem that they are willing to work with the likes of Mickey and Morgan for a bit, even though they're not necessarily loyal to them. And in turn, I do think that like they are settling to other options, like Lauren, for instance. I think Will is someone who is amenable to working with them at this point. I think Will at least recognizes that the Mickey Morgan side is a sinking ship alongside the Rachel side. And in general, with just that side of the house really imploding here, where it's like Ava doesn't like Ashley that much. Mickey doesn't like Ashley that much. I mean, it does seem like that entire side of the house is just kind of imploded at this point. So we'll see what happens, but I am getting a little bit concerned about where the season is going at this point. But obviously, if you're just joining us, not too much going on at the moment here. So I guess to just forecast what is likely to happen tonight. So Jimmy is the primary target. If Jimmy does not win the BB Blockbuster, he will be going out here. We know for sure that he will go out over Riley. And it does also seem like he will be evicted over Kelly. If Jimmy does win the Blockbuster, then Kelly will be going out. As the talk around the house is that Riley is the safest person on the block. There is very little interest in pulling the trigger on Riley here. I mean, we even saw it earlier this week to where Mickey didn't even want to put up Kat because she didn't want to upset Riley. And there's just this general notion in the house that people want to keep Riley safe. So in the process, that does give Riley a degree of safety here, where it's sort of interesting how he could have been the target at one point, and one could argue that he probably should be the target considering the noms. But instead, it seems like he's the safest person on the block, and it does seem like people are willing to keep him around. And while he's still not like in the core of things, he's not really in many core alliances. It is pretty evident at this point that people just want to keep him around, like they just expect him to just be in the game because it just makes sense for him to do so. So that's where the vote seems to be going at this current point. Now, I did also want to show you all something. So we actually, I don't know if this has been done in previous weeks, but this is the first time I've seen it at least. We are getting a sneak peek at the competition here. What was that? Okay. Sorry about that. Just got distracted. But this is the first week I've seen at least where we actually got to see what the blockbuster comp is going to be. And I've done this before, but I can show my screen here. Let me just get it open up. So this was again on Instagram. Okay. Here it is. Can I put this on full screen? Looks like it's just... This is to... Okay, so this is... Right, this is about as big as I can make it. Let me see if it'll play at all.
Tonight's BB Blockbuster competition. I'm gonna try it. Yeah.
I don't think it's allowing me to do my audio. I mean, it's okay. I don't need the audio, but you can see it up here. So it's basically just a table maze.
Here we go.
Yeah, like so we're literally just going to the spot here. It's just three because Julie like can't get the third one, and like she literally just like puts it in herself because she doesn't feel like finishing the challenge herself.
You get the idea. And then
so with that, like we have a general sense of like what the competition is, and again, just looking at the field here, you would assume that like I think you could assume that like Jimmy and Riley would be the front runners here. I don't think there's like as obvious as a front runner. Hey Will, glad you could join us here. I mean, I think considering this a field here, I don't think there's like a super obvious front runner. I mean, because when you just look at it, you would assume that Riley and Jimmy would just be pretty good at it. You know, and Kelly could be fine at it too, though it's like her whole thing is that she likes puzzles, and it's like this isn't exactly a puzzle. Like this is more so just like a general like dexterity thing. But it is interesting. Yeah, like I would agree. Like I feel like of this three, it's like there isn't like a super clear favorite over who I think would win it. So through that, I'm expecting it to be an interesting competition here. Now, in terms of like my ideal outcome, I probably say Jimmy winning is my ideal outcome. Now, either way, like I still think like the damage has already been done in terms of like the power structure. So I do think like regardless, it's like even if Jimmy wins, like if someone like Vince wins HOH, or if like Keanu wins HOH, even Ava winning HOH, like that side of the house is probably getting targeted anyway. Like I think a lot of people would just put Jimmy back up if Jimmy survives, but I would still rather Jimmy survive at this point than for him to just be taken out in this spot, because at least if he stays, then at least like there can be some drama with him like getting mad at Mickey, or the fact that he was targeted here, but oh, you thought you could get rid of me. Yeah, that as well. Like I don't know. Like I know some people really like Kelly, but it's like I don't know. At this point, like I think I'm just fine. Like seeing him go out. I think Rachel HOH will be really interesting. Yeah, I do think like in terms of like what HOH result would like do the most to shake up the game. I think Rachel probably present the most intrigue for what would happen, because I do think Rachel's probably the most likely person to directly go after Vince at this point. Now, whether she can actually get Vince out is another question, as I do feel like a lot of people will keep him around. So, like, you would need to have very specific noms, I think, to get him out. But again, like, I think, like, if you are looking for chaos this week, I think Rachel's probably the most likely to bring it if she wins. So, I'd agree with that. I do not. So you can see the disclaimer down here. Um, I don't show the show on the stream for obvious reasons, like copyright. Then also I just don't have like the setup to do it. Like, like I mean, I literally watched the episode on my phone right here. So I'm not gonna be showing the episode, but I will be doing essentially a play-by-play. So like when the competition comes around, I'll be giving like my color commentary, and then obviously with the vote, like we'll show like the vote. So I'll try to make it as much like watching the episode as you can, but I can't actually show it myself. Do you think the knockout comp will be not live? I don't think so. I mean, again, because when's the last time we've had like a live HOH like on the show? Because and especially with like the AI arena or in blockbuster, it's like the whole point of that is just fill out time in the Thursday episode, and it's like I think they would just rather save it for the Sunday episode, like having the HOH. So I'm not expecting it to be live, even though like the knockout comp is meant to be like a fixed amount of time, and it's the one you could do relatively quickly. But I don't think they're gonna show it live. I think they're just gonna save it for the Sunday episode. Hey Ace, glad you could join us here. We are about 10 minutes from the start of the show, so I'm kind of hoping for a Jimmy win in this blockbuster. I think the best. I think considering where we're currently at, I probably say the best outcome is like Jimmy wins blockbuster, Kelly goes out. Really, Riley going out would be better, but it's like that's probably not happening. And then we probably get a Jimmy or Rachel HOH, but yeah, like we'll see what happens. So anyway, with there being about 10 minutes left, I think there should be some time to update the games and stuff. Who's the most likely targets next week? So if Jimmy survives this week, then I would expect him to be a pretty big target coming the next week. I feel like a lot of people will put him up. Assuming Jimmy goes, then I think the next biggest targets will probably be like Ashley and Rachel. Probably Ashley more so. Like I think, especially with more people turning on Ashley, like I would expect her to be a likely target next week. And then beyond that, I would expect Rachel to probably be like a backup target. If you want to look beyond that, like I think Keanu would also probably not as likely to a target. I feel like he is starting to gain a little bit of traction in the game, but a little bit of traction, but beyond that, like not too much. Today was my dad's birthday. He turns 46, so I was messing with him today by playing the one song from SpongeBob that goes, "You're old." What song is that? Like, it has been so long since I watched SpongeBob. So the "You're Old" song, like, oh okay, oh okay. I don't remember that song. Yeah, that's funny though. Yeah, but glad you could join us here tonight. Um, yeah, I should update the pool game. Because I like to update the games before like things get too crazy. So that way, once we get the results, we can just I can just quickly post the results in the server. All right. But yeah, we are just joining us. I was just talking through what I think is likely to happen tonight. I'm expecting it to be a Jimmy boot unless he wins the BB blockbuster, and then if Jimmy does win it, then I would expect Kelly to be the boot here. I feel like the blockbuster comp, like we got the preview of it, I'm expecting it to be a bit up in the air. Like I do feel like I could realistically see any one of the three noms like winning it. I don't think there's like a super blatant favorite in any of them because literally every single person, all three of the noms have won at least one comp so far. I mean, obviously Riley won the HOH this week. Jimmy won an HOH himself, along with the day one comp, and then Kelly has won two blockbusters and the second veto in week two. So I'm not expecting I'm not expecting there to be like a super perennial favor coming into it. So I'm just updating the games right now. Let me see. So Mayhem chose Ashley, Mary chose Will, Steven chose Ashley, Blue chose Will, Jay Ashley, Vince, Kelly, Will, Skyrus chose Will, Ace chose Will. Then that's when I chose Ashley. I will say the one positive to come out of like this whole power shift is that it would make my Ashley pick pretty good. If Ashley goes out next week, I think that'd be a pretty clutch pick. Though obviously it is a little bit of a shame that I never got to never got to pick Jimmy. But I don't think I picked a single boot so far. Though obviously if Kelly goes out, that will also be fine. So not the worst in the world. Gargan, Ace, Hinky went with Zach. Oh no, did Kenny not pick? Oh damn, they didn't pick. They didn't pick this week. That is unfortunate. So let's see. Let me just double check all the picks here. And pull from. Okay, so we have one person at risk tonight, that being Adrala, they place held a Kelly, but then they forgot the switch, so they're locked on Kelly. So again, they're the only person at risk of being eliminated. There was also another person that didn't pick, so that's what's happening with the pool game. I'll probably update the polls a little bit later on. Anywho, gotta check chat here. Let's see more Mr. Krabs had to get to work, and yeah. I googled it. Yeah, so yeah, I forget that episode. Like it has been so long since I watched SpongeBob. Uh, yeah, I just forgot completely about that episode. I feel like with Keanu and Ava's fight at the veto comp, they edited out a lot of what Keanu actually said. I'm sure they did. Honestly, we probably won't know until we get exit interviews, if anything. Considering it obviously was not on feeds either. So we'll probably see. We'll see if anything comes out from it after the season. But anyway, gotta switch off my Bluetooth on this phone here. Okay. All right. Do you think a man or woman's winning the season? At this point, I assume all the front runners seem to be men, right? Because you have Zach and Vince, obviously. They're the pretty blatant top two at this point. They're both men. And it's like, if you look at the women at this point, it's like, it's not looking great because it's like, you always have Kelly, who's on the block right now. She could go home tonight. You have Ashley, who's about to be a pretty big target coming the next week, who is a likely target next week. You have Rachel, who's also a potential target in, if not this week, then definitely in the next couple weeks. You have Ava, who I don't think Ava really has it in her to get to the end. Like I think while she's like in a fine position right now, I don't think she's likely to get to the end at this point. Not feeling great about her. Lauren, I just don't think she's gonna have the respect to win at the end. Morgan. Sorry about that. Again, Morgan, I think she's just too loyal to Zach and Vince. I think she's gonna get cut by them. Mickey, I think this week just demonstrated a lot of really bad game sense from her. And then you have Catherine, who is just way too passive. So it's like, I don't feel good. To be fair, I don't feel great about anyone right now because, even Zach and Vince, I feel like they've demonstrated some bad tendencies as players. Where obviously Vince had a bad HOH and both of them had just been way too passive. So it's like, I'm not feeling great about anyone in particular, but it's like, I feel like the only people I feel okay about at this point are the men, which is something. You've already asked me that. I mean, I may do it. In general, it's like I don't do that many general Big Brother rankings. I feel like Survivor's more my bread and butter. But again, I'm not opposed to it. Would you say the Blue America double eviction or the Tiffany HOH was worse? Probably the Blue America one, if I'm being honest. Yep, I would agree with that. You watch it on BMX. I watch it on Xfinity, which is my cable provider. We've never really gotten rid of cable. Mind you, I barely use cable. It's I feel like the other people I live with, they use cable way more than I do. I really just use cable to watch again the shows that I cover, like Survivor, Big Brother, Amazing. Not really Amazing Race, but Survivor, Big Brother. And then I use it to watch sports. So mainly football. But it's I don't really use it for anything else. I feel like I feel like I enjoy. Again, I don't really watch a lot of TV, but I still have cable, and I mainly watch it. I prefer it at this point over Paramount Plus because literally the first time I streamed for this season at least, I tried using Paramount Plus and it was just way far behind. It was just too far behind. I feel like watching on the cable app allows me to at least be a little closer to pace. Which, speak of the devil, the show is now starting. We are now getting to the start of the show here. Catherine is hated by the women. Yeah, I think that also leads to me not feeling great about Catherine. We are getting the recap right now. Again, we've seen this all before. I don't know why Ava didn't just tell Mickey that Vince wanted to keep Adrian. Because she did want Vince up, but just let Jimmy go up and didn't do much to try to set her on the right track. Again, I think a lot of it just comes down to passiveness. I don't I again I feel like stuff like that is what makes me not feel great about Ava. Mind you, I always had reservations about Ava. I feel like while she was in a good position and that led to her being higher in the power rankings, I feel like we didn't have a ton of proof for being that active a player or someone who is like doing much to maintain that position. And I think we are starting to see like it is kind of falling to the wayside a bit. I mean, we'll see like what happens in future weeks in terms of Ava, whether she is willing to live with Vince in the house, whether she will be open to targeting Ava in the future. Though at the same time, like I believe Ava was also like pushing for. I mean, she didn't push for Jimmy to go up, but I think she was like fine with it. So like I think that was another reason why she didn't necessarily go that in that direction. Uh, so I think maybe that was another factor in why she didn't really push for it the same way. And I think you could also argue that she feels good about Vince as well because something that's been talked about is the fact that Ava knows that she was influential in uh, Zach and Vince not voting out Will last week. And I think that is allowing her to think that she has a better relationship with Vince than what she actually has. And doing so, she doesn't like feel like targeting Vince is a good idea. So I think there's another number of factors in play here, but yeah, like it would have been interesting if she like tried to do that. Hey Nichelle, glad you could join us here. Think Mickey HOH was a big disappointment. I think she'll be pre-jury boot now. It's not looking great. I think there's definitely a world where Mickey could be targeted next week under certain situations. Mind you, I feel like there are like other targets before her. Like I think Ashley is going to be targeted before her. I think Rachel is also likely targeted before her. But it's not looking great. But anyway, we are just wrapping up the recap here. We're now seeing Julie. Good evening. I'm Julie Chen Moonves. That's unfortunate. Up first. Yeah, they're really leaning into this they're leaning into this narrative that Jimmy like did it all to himself. Like but anyway, we're getting to the main show now, like post veto stuff. But yeah, like they're like going all in about how Jimmy just did this all to himself. He was playing all sides. He tried to work with Catherine and Lauren. It is funny how they're not like blaming Mickey more for this. They are kind of shielding Mickey from this and making her seem a bit justified in this move. Think Jimmy will go home when Kelly wins the arena, most likely. I agree. Really, Jimmy goes home unless he wins the blockbuster himself. Ava and Zach at this point are like the Chelsea and T core of the season. I don't know who's who. Uh I mean, if you really want to make that comparison, maybe I don't know. I feel like Chelsea's like way better than Ava or Zach. Though, if you were to make like the comparison, like I guess like Vince is the Chelsea. I feel like Vince is probably more the Chelsea than Zach is. I guess Ava's kind of like T Core, but again, I still think there are some differences between them. Maybe. Anyway, no, we're now getting a scene between Rachel and Jimmy here. Jimmy is not pleased, and neither is Rachel. Vince is more like Leah, if you ask me. Yeah, I can see that like as well. Again, like I don't think anyone's like true Chelsea. I guess I was like between like Zach and Vince, like which one was closer. Anyway, we have Rachel reeling into Vince right here. Um, well, I mean, around week 4 last season, that was the point where like Chelsea was going down a bit because Chelsea was in a pretty good spot early on. Like, let me pull up. I'm just curious. Let me pull up my power ranking from last season. Actually, I think that's a great question. I think we should look into that a bit more. Let me because I believe I had Chelsea relatively high during a lot of the season here. So let me see. All right, so I have my previous power rankings here. Actually, I could also just pull up the screenshot. Anyway, we have Vince and Zach celebrating, and Lauren too. Yeah, let me see. All right, I'm just pulling up my Chelsea rankings from last season. Okay, I got it here. So I was pretty high on Chelsea in the preseason, but that's neither here or there. So let's see. So week 1, she was number 2 week 1, number 3 week 2, number 3 week 3, number 2 week 4, drops to number 6 in week 5, and that's the lowest I ever had her was number 6. And that was like after the Cedric blindside, and that was the week where she was on the block against Brooklyn. And then she like bounces back to number 4 in week 6, and like number 1 thereafter. So like I feel like it was kind of apparent from early on that Chelsea was doing well. So I don't know, I would disagree with that slightly. Vince will be an early jury boot. He'll be target in the future. I think it could go either way. Like, I still think Vince is like a could be a target in the near future, but I think if he's able to get past that, like if he's able to like take out the likes of Rachel, if he's able to get out Ashley, I do think like Vince is going to be in a pretty good spot because it's like you still because Vince still has like people like Lauren, he has Morgan that are pretty like willing to work with him moving forward. So it's like, while he could be an early jury boot, I think there's also a lot of potential for him to like be in control and for him to make like a deep run. And I think that was like a whole thing with the power ranking for this week. It's like this debate between who's in the better short term position versus the better long term position. And I said that Zach's in the better short term position, but I think Vince is in potentially the better long term position. Let's see. Jimmy should have known he was a target. Kind of. Yeah, he was kind of blindsided by this whole ordeal here. Saw someone defend the Jimmy move as it was a resume builder. Was this just like on Twitter or something? I'm guessing like on Twitter or Reddit or something. I mean, I guess like to each his own, I guess, but I mean, it. it was a resume builder. I'll say that. It was a resume builder for probably not Mickey or Morgan, but certainly built up someone's resume. But anyway, we are currently on commercial break. Not too much has happened. Like we did see Jimmy talking with Mickey, and him essentially defending himself. Has there been a single HOH this season that wasn't below average? No. I feel like they've all been pretty bad so far. What the hell are you talking about? Okay. Um, it would be so funny if Zach won HOH and then took out Vince, keeping the streak of bad HOH reigns. Yeah, that would be pretty funny. Like the what world would Zach like actually put up Vince here? Like, would he like do it like as a pawn? Like, it's like, oh, like we. I don't think Zach could be that dumb, but then again, like I didn't think Mickey would actually put up Jimmy either. Like, so I guess anything can happen. Oh, it was a TikTok. Okay, gotcha. So yeah, we are currently in commercial break. We're gonna get one more segment here, and then we're gonna get to the blockbuster. Again, seems like it'll be an interesting blockbuster. I don't think there's an inherent favorite coming into it. I think this may also be a good time to do the update the poll results, which, by the way, the polls were kind of interesting this week. So let me do that right now. So let's see. So 7. All right, we are back from commercial here. Maybe. See, we got everyone's favorite showmance, Catherine and Riley. Obviously, everyone's favorite couple. Anyway. All right, more Ava being wacky. If Mickey goes home next week, this might be the worst HOH in Big Brother. I don't think it's the worst HOH of all time. Like I still think there's like worse ones. Because it's like as bad as the move is, I don't think Mickey's like the number one target coming the next week. Then also she was like already kind of a target coming into it. So I don't feel like she fell as far like other people have. It's like I mean it's like you have like I still think Devin's worse. Like Devin from BB16, he's probably worse. Willie, you still have Willie Hands from BB 14. You still have Kyle Moore from BB Can 10. Isn't it so funny? So I wouldn't say it's the worst of all time, but it's definitely the worst of the season. I'd argue even the Heisem HOH from BB25 is worse, but still bad, obviously. How to watch the episode on the West Coast? Does anyone know? I'm not aware of any ways to watch on the West Coast, unfortunately. We've got Ashley and Will talking now. Ashley is just Seems like they're talking about trying to keep Jimmy around. Rachel's probably going to be the first jury boot. I don't see a way for Rachel to make it past final seven. Yeah, that's been the talk that people are just dragging Rachel to jury and then they're just going to take her out, like probably in the first juror slot. Still give that to Willie Hands, but definitely one of the 15. Where is that? Yeah, probably top 15. Do you think Rachel will win this season? I do not. I don't think Rachel really has a path to the end at this point. Ava gonna do trick shots on the hammock gate. Heisem HOH was the worst. HOH, no risk game for that HOH. Yeah, I'd still say Heisem was worse than this one here. And we have Mickey now getting very annoyed at Ashley. Very annoyed. Keanu enters the chat. Let me just. Yeah, we have Zach, Ashley, and Will talking right now. Keanu can make a run to Final Seven if he keeps winning, or because less of a threat. I mean, we're already starting to see Keanu not being as big of a priority at this point. That is part of the reason why he went up. Like again, like there is a slight pro in that regard, but I still be very hesitant about Keanu moving forward. Like we have seen him, like we have seen this before, like where Keanu has been given bones in the game. Like people talk about, oh, he's not so bad. Maybe we can work with Keanu, and then he just like goes and blows things up. So we can't rule out that possibility. But I would say that he is genuinely becoming less of a target now that people are maybe getting a little less scared to play the game. Anyway, talking about targeting Kelly here. So now we've got Jimmy campaigning to Vince over here. Want Keanu HOH for this week? Keanu HOH would be interesting. Kind of want Roy. Who's Roy? Oh, you want Mickey Yao. Gotcha. Well, you're going to have to wait at least a week because she is not curling the block. So yeah, we've got Jimmy campaigning to Vince here. Vince is pretty wary of Rachel right now. Is it though? Okay, we are now going to commercial here. We are about to get to the BB Blockbuster. Will's in a really good spot right now. Is he? I don't think so. I think he's actually in a pretty bad spot right now because he was technically like with the Morgan side of the house, Mickey house side of the house that just got completely annihilated. And it's like, yes, he's now like, I think he's now starting to gravitate to like Zach and Vince, kind of, but like at the same time, it's like, are they really going to take Will that deep into the game? And beyond that, like I still think there's like a lot of possibility for him to be like this perpetual pawn in the future. It's like I would not agree with Will being in a good spot right now, but who are you betting to win the blockbuster? Well, I voted. Who did I vote for? I think I voted for Riley. I think I was actually about to update the polls, or at least like input like the scores and stuff. But yeah, so actually, never mind. I voted for Kelly. My bad. So Kelly was the favorite here, getting 57% of the vote. Jimmy is in second with 35%, and only 2 people voted for Riley. But anyway, I gotta input the other results right now. So who won the HOH? No one voted for Riley, but we did get 1 vote for Mickey here. Okay. Yep. So nominees. Actually, wait. Did I check to make sure they didn't double dip? I don't think they double dipped. Okay, gotta check this. So annoying that I had to check this. Um, okay, that's fine. Okay, so there's that. Nominees. Everyone and their mom picked Keanu. Oh, well, guess we're getting straight into the competition here. Let me just respond to the chat here. Is Riley good at this type of comp? Well, we'll have to see. Take a 9-person jury, 7-person jury. I think 9-person jury right now, simply due to the powers. Anyway, we are back from commercial here. We are about to get to the BB blockbuster here. I'm not really gonna look at chat. I'm gonna pay attention here. So anyway, Julie's just giving us all of our setup here. So the competition, we got a preview of it earlier. It is a table maze. Again, you just gotta get 3 balls into like certain parts of the table maze, and then just hit your button. Pretty standard stuff. Yeah, right now, Julie is just explaining the challenge. Mm-hmm. All right, we are now off to the races here. Everyone is getting started in this table maze, navigating the first balls. Gonna take a moment to figure out. Separation here. It does seem like so far, Jimmy's off to the early lead here, with him being the closest to getting his first ball through. It does. Riley does. Riley is the first to get his ball in, but Riley went for the closest one, closest compartment. Jimmy is going for a slightly different strategy of going for the furthest ball here and working his way closer. Kelly now has a ball in. She's also going for the closest. Jimmy has dropped the ball. Not a good start for Jimmy. And Riley currently has the lead here, getting his second ball in place here. Just 1 ball left. Jimmy's strategy has really backfired. But Jimmy finally has his first ball through. It may not matter, though, as Riley seems to have a pretty substantial lead at the current moment. So unless Riley messes up, it does seem like we will be in for a short night here. Let's just see what Riley does here. Riley is currently maneuvering his ball through the obstacles here. He's pretty close to the third compartment here. It's just a question of whether he can land it. He gets it in, and he is walking very slowly, hits the button, and just like that, Riley has won the BB Blockbuster. Let me just shrink him down. There we go. Again, not too surprising that Riley won this. I felt like, again, anything could have happened coming into it. But yeah, it does seem like Jimmy took a pretty big gamble here trying to go for the furthest. Really backfired once he dropped it, and just Riley Riley really avoided a lot of mistakes here. And through that, Riley is now safe. He will be voting tonight to evict Jimmy. We are now heading to commercial here. Anyway, I'm gonna continue to update the games here as we had a commercial. Let me just take a look at the chat. Yep. Yeah, it looks like Jimmy is about to be voted out here. Unless maybe there was a push, but it is looking like Jimmy's in a pretty bad spot at this current point. So that's Keanu. One person voted for okay. Then you have Riley as the third nominee. 4 people voted for Riley here. Makes sense. Nope. Double check. Okay. So there's that. Who will win the veto? Keanu was the favorite there. Bryce finally voted. Oh my god, why can't I type? So Bryce. Alright, so we have 13. That's good. Then replacement nominee. These were all able to fit into one. That's convenient. Conveniently, only two people voted for Riley in the blockbuster, so should be very quick there. So many people voted for Jimmy. I'm just gonna put it in now because I'm expecting Jimmy to be voted out. And if it changes, well, it'll at least be faster to change. Okay, 15 votes. We are back from commercial here, right in time, right on time. O'Reilly could compete in the HOH comp. He will, because he technically did not serve as HOH, so he's allowed to compete. Mickey will be the one sitting out in the next HOH. It's gonna be unanimous, probably. Yeah, I agree. Forgot the two. Hey, Gargan, glad you could join us here. Anyway, Julie is now doing her announcement that Riley has won the BB Blockbuster. Not expecting many fireworks. All right. Pretty standard stuff. Cut the cat. Hey, Forever Young. Glad you could join us here. And not too much energy here. It seems like everyone's just silently hugging. Cut to Rachel here, who is not pleased by this outcome, obviously. All right, we have Rachel whispering to Will. I'm guessing Rachel just. Did you just tell Will, like. Okay. All right, we have her whispering to Ava here. Probably just seeing if there are numbers to be had here. Yep, Ava just said he doesn't have the votes. Yeah, I think Rachel's just going around, like, trying to gather some info here. We have her whispering to Ashley. Couldn't make out what Rachel told Ava there. Is she saying she's going to vote for to keep Jimmy even though the numbers aren't there? But anyway, Rachel looks pretty dejected at this point. Julie just summoned them back to the couch, and now they're about to give their speeches. The question is whether it's going to be unanimous or not. But we are going to get right to the speeches here. Oh, yeah, I forgot it was Kelly's birthday this week. Ugh. All right. Now Jimmy is giving his speech. He's dressed in black here. Okay. Yeah, pretty good speech from Jimmy. I don't think it's gonna work, but Miley Cyrus got a shout out. Anyway, the speeches are now done. We are now going to get to the vote here. Jimmy should be voted out here near unanimously. The question is whether Rachel gives him a sympathy vote or possibly will. But anyway, Morgan is now the first to head over to the diary room. She is likely to cast her vote here for Jimmy. Probably one of the more locked in votes for Jimmy at this point. All right. Morgan, it's a vote for Jimmy. She seems pretty pumped by all this. We got Riley going in next. Should be another vote for Jimmy. He's pretty hyped up here. Definitely the departure from last week. There we go. 2 votes for Jimmy. We got Keanu up next. Should be yet another Jimmy vote. Maybe. All right. There you go. All right, we have Catherine. Bit slow to come in here, but she shows up. All right, should be going to commercial here. But yeah, so far nothing too shocking here. Jimmy is on track to be evicted here, near unanimously. Maybe he could get one sympathy vote, but considering that Rachel did vote out Amy in week 2, I assume that means Rachel could be another vote to evict Jimmy here. Not even trying to make a statement here, but we are heading to commercial here. But yeah, nothing too crazy here. Jimmy's cooked. Yeah, see, it's looking pretty cooked right now. It is a bit of a shame though that we are losing Jimmy here, man. I do think at the end of the day, like, he is someone who was definitely trying to like manufacture stuff a bit much, and is also someone who definitely like did a lot of it to himself. But it is still kind of crazy that he is going out in this particular spot here, and through that, it's like, what do I do with him on the player ranking? I think that'll be very interesting. That'll definitely be an interesting discussion in terms of how much do I dock Jimmy for this. The fact that he is going out on an HOH that he felt pretty good about, in that he also played his HOH week pretty poorly. I think there's definitely some concerns here. Is Jimmy the best pre-jury so far? Uh, I think so. I mean, because it's like when you look at the rest of the board, it's like, okay, you got Zay, who didn't do a tremendous amount wrong, but didn't do that much right either. You have Amy, who I feel like is pretty bad. Adrian is not great. So I guess, like, yeah, he's probably number one on the boot so far, but I don't think he's particularly good. I mean, he is still going. I mean, he's still someone who played his HOH week pretty poorly. He's still someone who was a pretty big target across his first couple weeks, and he's someone who is technically going out on his own allies HOH. So I feel like there are still some pretty big knocks, but I think the highs are definitely higher. Like, he was technically part of the majority early on. Like, he is someone who I think was definitely in a better position in the early days than all the other groups there, all the other boots so far. So through that, he is technically on the top, but I still think he is not going to be too high by the end of the season. I'm sorry about that. I hope badly that next week one of the Vins or Maggie or Morgan go. Yeah, I mean, I do think like Mickey and Morgan are potentially likely people to go up next week. Even Vince is someone who I think could go up. Anyway, we are still at commercial here. Not too much to really make of this so far. Anyway, it looks like we're about to get back from commercial. Anyway, we are now back from commercial here, getting right back to the eviction vote here. Who are we going to see coming out of the. Who's going to be the first vote back? Cast bomb 5 cast strategy wise. It's not looking good. Anyway, Vince is the next to cast his vote. Should be a pretty clear vote for Jimmy here. We'll see. Also, welcome Blaster Rumby to the server. All right, another vote for Jimmy. Maybe. We got Rachel here. Could be a sympathy vote. All right. Rachel throws Jimmy a sympathy vote. Casts her vote for Kelly. Interesting stuff. We've got Ashley. What will Ashley do? I don't think she's gonna throw a sympathy vote. We have her talking to Rachel in like the walkway. Definitely taking up a lot of time here. Yeah. Yeah, Julie just stand there awkwardly, not really saying anything. But yeah, Rachel is definitely trying to tell Ashley about the plan. Ashley's pausing, doesn't know what to do. All right. Ashley throws a pretty confused vote for there's a pretty confused Kelly vote here, but again, another sympathy vote here. All right, we got Will here coming on board. Ashley talking to Will. Seems like they are trying. What just happened? Like it seems like Ashley like decided to change her mind. She ran back into the diary room, try to switch her vote to Jimmy because she probably realized the numbers weren't there. All right, Will throws a vote for Jimmy, and then Julie's just like, so Ashley like ran in, said Jimmy, 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 then ran out before Julie's like, no, no, no. But yeah, but with that, Will casts his vote for Jimmy. securing that Jimmy will be going out here, but we got Ava going into the room next. All right. Hey, that was funny. We got Zach up next. All right. Vote for Jimmy. We got Lauren here. Should be a vote for Jimmy here. Locking in, that'll be a 10-2 vote. All right, Lauren is a vote for Jimmy here. And with that, Jimmy has been evicted in a 10-2 vote. All right, Julie just gave a clarification. But anyway, votes now secure. Time to make the announcement here, and I gotta update the games. All right, not too surprising. Right. Jimmy's hugging Rachel here. Rachel's pretty upset by this. But it is a near unanimous vote here, so. Oh, here it is. Oh yeah, like I think Jimmy like alluded to like him trying to blow. Oh yeah, so Jimmy did suggest that he wanted to blow up like Zach and Vince's spot on his way out or like make a scene, but like he didn't really do that. Like, or at least I didn't catch him doing that. Anyway, Riley, Colin. We have Kelly having a bit of reaction. We're now going to commercial, where we are about to get the interview with Jimmy. Okay, so I just updated the polls. What? No, not what I meant to do. But yeah, nothing too crazy there. I do find, again, I think the highlight is obviously Ashley trying to change her vote. Let's see, so snip. Okay. Oh, nope, not what I meant. Yeah, I'm just updating the games right now. Um, pool, it's really just Kenny voted out for not picking, which is unfortunate since I did pick Jimmy last week. We've had a pretty decent, would have been in a pretty decent spot had they not been knocked out. Keep doing that. So who picked? I know people picked Jimmy. So Jimmy is in 14th place. All right. Interesting selection. So he got asked who he thought were the votes to keep him. He picked Rachel, which makes sense. And then he picked Ashley, Catherine as the other two. Yep. Interesting he picked Catherine as the other person. Oh boy. Yep, now Julie is making a meal out of this. Wants to point out that she wasn't a vote for him. All right. So I updated the games. All right. She's so done. Yeah, she's not looking too good right now. Watches Ashley wins HOH. Three factions in the house right now. Kind of. Oh, interesting. Jimmy says he was more portrayed by Morgan. I don't think that's ever happened before. I don't think anyone's tried to change their vote after they cast it. Not to my knowledge, at least. But I think if we are breaking down the house right now, I'd say on one side you have Zach, Vince, Lauren. You have Zach, Vince, and Lauren. You have Riley, Catherine. They're like another group. Then you have, and then beyond that, it's like everyone else is just kind of scattered. It's like because like Ashley's like you kind of have like Ashley and Rachel. You kind of have Mickey and Morgan, kind of with Zach and Vince. You have Keanu and Kelly that are kind of like on an island. They're kind of attached to Vince, but not really. No, we're just getting the goodbye messages. So he says Morgan, Vince, and Zach are running the game. Interesting stuff. All right. All right. They're previewing a Rachel Keanu fight on the Unlocked. Okay. They're once again trying to prop up Catherine Riley, which is so weird. Like, I mean, we've seen it plenty of times. Like, the show propping up showmances that aren't really showmances. I do find the entire Catherine Riley situation kind of weird because it's like I think Catherine likes Riley, but it's like I feel like Riley doesn't really respect her boundaries that much, and I think she's also like kind of being pressured by like the house to like engage, but I think a lot of that's because a lot of the house assumes that like Catherine's in the Riley, but which in turn stems from all right, we have Keanu talking to Rachel. Interesting stuff. Rachel's just crying right now as Keanu's just talking. Okay. All right, so that was the episode. So yeah, I mean the outcome itself wasn't too shocking. I mean, I don't feel like we had any real blindsides here, but let me just turn that off. All right. So yeah, I mean, again, I do feel like this bad HOH from Mickey. I feel like that goes without saying. I do feel like at this point, again, I feel like the power ranking should be pretty secure right now. Though obviously the next HOH will play a lot into that. The show does, again, with that end credit scene, like they were showing Rachel and Keanu talking. I know that Keanu was a bit more willing to work with Rachel after this, but whether that sticks, we'll have to see. Let's see. But yeah, I would say yeah, it was definitely there was definitely some entertainment here with Rachel like trying to like talk to people like and actually just that entire voting thing was pretty funny. But yeah, I feel like there isn't that much to get into now. Like yeah, I mean obviously like we'll have to see what happens with the next HOH. I mean I think Rachel will probably be one of the more interesting outcomes here. Though obviously a lot of it will depend on what happens in the cup, which we do have a preview of what it is. Like we do know it's supposed to be like the knockout comp, which I think Rachel won on BB12, I believe. So again, we'll see what happens. Like, I mean, she could win it. I kind of hope she wins it. But yeah, do any of y'all have any other things you like to talk about or ask right now? Well, I was like, but yeah, so like, I do find it funny, like again, the whole how they're depicting the Catherine Riley stuff. Like, it's obviously not great, and I think they are trying to make Riley pretty sympathetic, which isn't too shocking considering how like the archetype that Riley occupies. Ashley is an icon. Yeah, I think that's a fair description. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I do feel like it was a Ashley might just be the most scatterbrained contestant in history. Yeah, I think that would again like I think that's the first. Like I don't think that's ever happened before where someone like tried to change their vote afterwards. I mean you do have Topaz from BB Can 1, though obviously that was like a different situation. Where it's like at least then like she just like grabbed the wrong key. Whereas this like Ashley had to actually vocalize who she was voting for. Rachel, Ava, Ashley, Will. I I would not. I don't think I would describe it like that because Ava doesn't like Ashley. Like Ava's like really turned against Ashley and doesn't really want to work with her at this point. So I don't think Ashley fits in with that. Like again, I think also Ava like is kind of like close to Zach and Vince. Like she thinks that she has influence over Zach and Vince due to what happened last week with the Adrian vote. So I don't. And then beyond that, it's like Mickey like knows she's on the bottom of like the Zach Vince Morgan foursome. Like Zach and Vince aren't really as close to Morgan as they are to Lauren. And then it's like Keanu and Kelly are kind of like on an island, kind of, because it's like they're not really in a formalized group. So I think the way the house is broken down right now, it's like it's probably like I would say like it's Zach, Vince, Lauren, Morgan, Mickey on one side. I'd say they're probably in like the power position right now. They do have Riley and Catherine on the side, kind of, and they kind of also have Ava also kind of on the side. So I guess that you could say that's one side of the house. You have Keanu, who is like loosely attached to Zach and Vince as well. So I guess you can kind of lump him in, but he's not really like he kind of has his own agenda as well. And then beyond that, like you have like Rachel and Ashley kind of an aside. You have Will kind of with them. And then you have like Kelly who's like also kind of on an island. Like I feel like that's probably the best way I can describe the house right now. Is Keanu going home next or his target has shrunk. Like I feel like at this point Ashley and Rachel are bigger targets than yeah, they're like Keanu will probably still be used as a pawn, like, but I don't think he's as likely to be the target anymore. Like because I feel like at this point, like Ashley, Rachel are bigger targets. Vince is also kind of a target. I do think there's a world where Keanu and Kelly could go up by accident, like if they go up as pawns and then like the main target wins like Vito or Blockbuster or something like that. But it's not like the weeks before where Keanu was just like a big consensus target right from the start. I feel like we are kind of shifting from that. Game losing move from Mickey. It is a very bad move. I don't think I think there is definitely a slight chance you could recover, but I think more than likely it is a game losing move. I feel like in most situations this would be a pretty bad situation and definitely one that's you can't really recover from. But that's not impossible. Can't wait to a palm. I don't think he's. Yep, I agree with that. If he's on the block, they're gonna feel like they have to take him out. Again, like I feel like from for a lot of house, you're just bigger fish to fry at this point. And I think Keanu himself is kind of getting some inroads to where he's not like entirely a pariah. Funny how Keanu outlasted Jimmy after all that. Yeah, that's another funny thing. The fact that Jimmy was so anti Keanu and yet Keanu outlasted him. That's a good point. Like if anything, I think Kelly's more likely to go out this point than Keanu. Like I think because like no, like I feel like fewer people care about Kelly at this point than Keanu. Like I think Keanu's building a little bit of traction. Like Cameron outlasting is he maybe 25, kind of. Yeah. Any other thoughts or comments at this time? Yeah, man, I feel like I mean, considering what happened here, I still think it was a pretty fun outcome for this week for this eviction here. Tucker outlasting Brooklyn. That's another good comparison. But yeah, I feel like it was a pretty good stream, all things considered. I feel like Yeah, I mean, maybe not the greatest trajectory for where the season could be going. Like, I do still worry that we could be in for a steamroll, assuming that Vince and Zach aren't completely incompetent players. Like, this should be like a pretty good spot for them to just steamroll, but you never know with this cast. Keanu's the angel this season. Kind of. I don't know. I feel like Keanu is probably more likely to win a jury vote at this point than Angela is. Best week of the show by far. I wouldn't agree with that. What is the best week of this season so far? If anything, I feel like this is probably the worst week of the show so far. Like, I feel like because yes, while it was like an eventful week, I feel like it was like frustrating to see like Mickey like being so gung ho and targeting Jimmy was so obviously bad for her game. Yeah, I think week one's probably the best week of this season so far. Keanu's win equity. I agree with that. I think there's definitely a path for Keanu to garner respect through his comp wins. Where even though people were like not thrilled that he won the veto this week, I feel like it could like translate to respect at this point, considering what he's won like two vetoes on his own, a third veto technically speaking, if we're counting Casey winning the veto. Wish week one ended in a tie would have been the best week one ever. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I feel like it was a pretty good stream, all things considered. I'll be back again next week. We'll see where we currently stand. We'll see where we stand after a week. We'll see if things have turned around. I'm not thinking it's super likely. I think we're probably going to be in a similar spot again next week. But we'll have to see who wins HOH. We'll see what they do with it. I think there's definitely some ways that the season could go, especially these next few weeks. But at the same time, it also wouldn't shock me if we're in a steamroll from this point on. Any last thoughts? We need very lucky comp results. Yeah, yeah, we're definitely going to need a specific set of outcomes to occur. Most interesting HOH result, I think I've already said this. I'd say probably Rachel. I think Ashley could also be fine. Like probably those two. Though even then, it's I think Rachel's probably more likely to know what to do compared to Ashley. I think Ashley could be a bit scatterbrained, especially with Ashley as well, not really like being against Zach. I think that could be a blind spot. So probably Rachel. How long should the HOH comp last? Probably not. I mean, we're probably like gonna get feeds back at some point, like probably around like midnight Eastern, or probably like a bit after midnight. I don't think it's gonna last that long. But yeah, obviously, yeah. But yeah, I'll be back again next week, same time. If you like this, be sure to like and subscribe. Join Discord server. We got some fun stuff over there. And yeah, until next time, see ya.